All right, so starting off, meeting minutes, discussion and approval of the meeting minutes from October 22nd.
You guys probably don't remember that I sent them to you that same day.
Same day.
Yes, you did.
That was
but,
very impressive.
I was
Mhm.
very impressed with myself.
Yep.
Nice.
So I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 22nd.
And I will second.
And
Okay.
you guys could do it in any order now, because
Oh, 'cause
I
you-
don't put that in there anymore.
Nice. Approved as, okay, cool.
All right, Public Works update from Public Works Director, Mayor Dave Westwood.
All right, you now have it in your messages, so you can copy it and paste it.
Okay. And by you mean Chris?
Chris has it.
Okay, because I'm like,
Stormwater status, we are at basically everything on the punch list is done. We are at the pickup, cleanup, and then go through and validate the work stage for the stormwater.
Excellent.
awesome. I feel like that was that's like a big check in the box.
Big, good one.
I actually took a picture today that I should share. I walked over to the post office while it was rain, sleet, snowing,
Mm-hmm.
and the water was coming down, and I was looking at this river, and it was going around the corner,
Oh, beautifully.
and it was going into this stormwater drain. It was,
Did
whoa.
you do a little jig?
To be like, stop traffic.
I-
Oh, everybody look at this!
The answer to both of those questions embarrassingly is yes.
Yeah.
I didn't have to say, look at this, it turns out standing in the middle of the road and doing the jig did that.
Okay, well, there's that. Okay, perfect.
Curious,
Mission accomplished.
down by 19th, looks like they're working on the corners there.
Yeah. Does that have to do with,
I don't think it has to do with,
Let me orient 19th.
Bridge.
yeah, the bridge, Bastions, that
Bastions.
corner.
By the Rocky Fort, not related. That,
Okay.
I'm not even sure whose equipment that is, to be honest with you.
I thought it was,
Rocklands.
It's, yeah, it's the Wilson Brothers.
It's, the third time they've torn those up, so somehow they're not making the state happy. The state's making them tear them up and
they
re-pour
don't seem very
Tear up
happy.
which?
corners.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
did not seem happy doing it.
No,
There's no,
This
they
is
seemed
the
very
third time-
irritated last week about it,
This
so.
is the third time they've installed those corners.
third time's a charm?
We'll see.
Okay.
All right, I was just kind of curious on that one.
I see your ordinance in here. Your draft.
The other thing I will add to the Public Works thing is the lead pipe inventory. We made it in to our deadline. However, the way that they categorize things inside of their database is a little bit strange and a little bit weird. So for instance, if you built a house last year, there's no question that there's not lead pipes in it,
Mhm.
but the way it categorizes in their database, there's still something we have to do. So there's gonna be probably about 1,000 letters that we still need to send out as the next phase. Mike is working on that letter. He was feeling down. I had not seen it as of yet, but we will talk about it in the, meeting and then get something in the paper for it as well.
Great.
When those go out. But it's not a panicky thing. It's just, the database is stupid and it's not smart enough to say if the house was built here, then this is there, which is the information they gave us up front, it would be.
Mhm.
But now the way they're categorizing it, and he's already done one of these full inventories in another city, so this is just kind of their continuing ongoing changes of, okay, now we need some additional information, so.
Great.
There will be some letters going out, and people shouldn't panic over them.
Okay, don't panic. Noted.
Don't panic, noted.
Is that it for
That's it.
updates? Okay, I can take out wastewater, water, streets, parks.
I mean, then now we're just transitioning into the winter projects, right? So the winter projects would be this sewer minimum and no longer having the need for the extra meters. You know what I'm talking about when I say that?
Yep.
Okay.
Do you have any updates on the, solar, project at the Lions Park? Did that get submitted by November 1st, do you know?
I believe so. I did not do it, but I believe so.
Alan put a big old heart up, so.
Yeah, we
Yeah, okay,
approved,
thanks, Alan.
we approved it to.
Do you want to pop in, Alan, and tell us what happened?
Hey, no, I just want to say thank you for asking about that. I was wondering about that myself.
Wait, you didn't submit it?
Please tell us you submitted.
Wait, I thought you were the one submitting. Who submitted?
Oh, are you talking about the Northwest Energy, application for the solar, carport. Mike
Yeah.
Maple submitted that. Oh, I was giving the heart to, the question about, or maybe I misheard. I would love to hear an update, maybe at a next meeting about the solar at the, recycling center and the Public Works building. Mike, Maple has submitted the application, before the November 1st deadline for, the Northwest Energy Grant. So stay tuned. Maybe in 6 months, we'll hear back.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Excellent.
And then you would like to hear an update on?
Solar at the
Solar.
recycling center and
And city off, and.
Public Works building. So I remember that Mike was working on that, and
And I remember signing it, but I did not submit it. That's why I was kind of going, oh, that wasn't on my list, was it?
I was like, oh my God, wait, who?
The sidewalk repairs, are they now postponed until spring?
I think they are seasonally, if there are days when it's suitable to do it, they may do it,
I'm
but
talking about the sections they took out on flat
What was the other one? Wastewater
to
treatment?
move the water stops.
I guess I was, that differs from the report I was given, because when they said everything on the punch list was done, my understanding was that.
There's one in front of my daughter's house that's still not done.
Okay, and that may be, let me add, some sidewalks reportedly not done yet.
Well, maybe they thought the house, because the house wasn't done, they didn't wanna mess with it, yeah.
okay.
And so that, what that tells me is those are probably on a different list, or the fact that they said the list is done was inaccurate, which is why there's the validate in there to go through and make sure it's done.
What address did you say that was?
I think it's 106 flat.
North, south?
That's fine.
Yes, the south side. The south side. All right, on to number 3, municipal code 614, reserve space handicap parking. So,
Ordinance draft, here you go, look at you.
yeah,
Oh,
you,
you guys all your computers? So I started writing the ordinance and I was like, I need help here. So, somebody, please.
Okay,
I've got it started,
yeah,
and I sent it to you,
we're
it
on the-
looks like you're on it.
If I may relay on some public input,
Yes?
I understand that it's called handicap parking and our ordinance is gonna be the handicap parking ordinance, but there was some public feedback that they were concerned that the politically correct term for like who uses it, it's not handicapped people, it's physically disabled, or we have to
Disabled,
make sure that we're using
the right
appropriate,
verbiage.
you know,
yep,
century appropriate, or, you know,
In this
well, and I
slide,
say that, yeah,
okay, so I can change that right now.
in ordinance, retaining to
Reserve space, disabled,
Why use 2 words when you can use 6?
disabled
How much
parking?
more, here we go,
Disabled parking?
yeah,
yeah,
Oh, wait.
yeah, is it, or
PC. for-
physically disabled, I think is that was the term. I can share, the
Oh,
name
look,
of the
PC
individual.
term for handicap parking is accessible parking spots, disabled with, it just says disabled use,
Disabled use?
accessible parking spots for disabled.
I like
Like 6 words.
I like accessible parking, but I think that day I generated and it missed something, so.
That's-
I'm
that's
looking
New York City
at
government.
a disability language guide. And
What is the politically correct to say handicapped parking?
Thank you for that input, though. That is, I mean, that's important.
And according to Stanford, it is, where it is accessible parking.
regulations or places like handicap parking are generally accessible, however, it's acceptable, however, it's more preferred to use terms like accessible parking.
Whoa.
I'm just gonna put accessible in there right now.
Well, they have a whole paralyzed, crippled, incapacitated, weak in their mind, immobilized, hamstrung, attenuated. They do not need synonyms for handicap, that will.
So do we wanna change, if we can go up to the top,
Okay, hang
in
on.
ordinance to amend Red Lodge Municipal Code 614 pertaining to reserve space accessible parking.
Oh, we're all on it. I'm
Oh,
done, I'm
geez.
done. I'm walking away. Knock it off.
I
feel like I'm in my kids' papers right now.
And then I started with the whereas, and I don't even know if this is true. I just put why was this brought up? Because you gave it to us.
So why would it,
Oh, so there's,
Wasn't it around the county?
there was actually several, why was this brought up?
What problem?
Yeah, the original request was because our current language says it was not just accessible, it was reserved parking. So Business X could come fill out a form and pay $200 and have a reserved spot in front of their, that's the
without,
existing code, so.
without it being a accessible spot or?
Yeah, and it says, I'm Junction 7. And so then there was a conversation of, do we want to make a 15-minute spot on every block? But the problem is, as soon as you do that, then it's not available for regular parking.
And just,
So it's
policing
basically
that
parking maximization and without just buying a reserved spot in front of your house because you paid $50.
Just not address intended use or allows unintended use.
Our existing code offered the opportunity for abuse, I think, is what the basis was.
whereas the current code does
I
not,
mean, it's like what I had typed.
it was. And I was like, where are you going with that? I'm not touching it.
Erasing.
I see everybody's names with everyone's cursors in this document.
Not mine.
I just wrote that down. You can pull it up there.
Offers.
But, well, first whereas. Where's it going? Offers the opportunity for abuse.
Public parking spaces. Ouch.
Here, I'm gonna get out of it because there's a lag. Maybe that's why I have it open in 3 different spots.
And I don't know if that whereas in the top is accurate.
Ted Lodge.
Whereas the current code references fees that have never been paid and an applicant process that currently doesn't exist.
Right? There's no application?
No, there was no
We
application
talked to
form.
Lonnie about that.
Yeah, and Lonnie's like, there's no application. Because then we were like, oh, do we need to get an application? Or, no, why don't make me make an application.
Well, it does reference an application.
Yeah. Fees that have never been paid in an application process that currently does not exist.
Application for space provided in
And
the,
where-
shall be filed with the city clerk, shall be accompanied with consent and writing document first. So, there is no application, they just have to like write a letter saying, I want, back to you.
So with this new code, how does that affect Regis's and the hair salon?
So that's angled parking, I think, is what you're talking about. We already just have a code that
You
says
don't dare park
there.
there.
Pardon?
She comes out and chases you off if you park there.
Oh, people do it, but she's not legally allowed to do that, and you're not gonna get cited for it.
Okay,
Like, if you go to Sandy's,
right across from the post office.
there's also
Oh, yeah.
Isn't
people,
there somebody who lives, isn't that also an apartment?
There's 2 apartments up top,
Yep.
three up top.
Okay.
but to your point, there are several people who put customer parking only and this, that in front of the others, and the answer is, you could do that in front of yours, doesn't mean it's enforceable or real.
So what about the ones over here by the Pollards?
I'm not aware of ones by the only ones I'm aware of that are official signs, we have one in front of ours, and there's one in front of the county
Yeah.
that are, and that was actually when this all kind of came up. I know the Pollard is looking for loading, but what does it say by the
I
Pollard?
thought there were ones like right here that say,
Well, they have their parking lot right over here.
well,
They-
the parking lot I get, like that's like fenced off.
They had some temporary
But
ones,
what about,
they just parked cars in red tape for a day or two because they were emptying out the building.
oh,
I don't think there's permanent signs out there.
okay. I thought,
I- Could be wrong,
I don't know,
happens frequently.
I'm not, it's not a problem for me.
I think Regis was approved by the council at one point in history.
The angle right there?
Well,
They
I don't
have
think it's
reserved
just the,
parking.
yeah, they have.
They have reserved parking around Regis. To
Must have
keep
got like
kids from parking around their.
Oh, when we had school, well, yes, but now.
I have not seen or found any record on that. And secondly, you've lived here long enough that I expect you to say Regis and then Tully's, because you knew the people.
Regis.
No, it was Regis.
It was Regis.
These newcomers, they've got new language.
Yeah, what is it Regis in a tablet?
The guy who owned it, that's how he said his last name.
No, he did, he was a crazy old man, he was mean, you know, trust me, you don't wanna mispronounce his
All right.
name.
How's this for some whereases?
There you go.
The current code references fees that have never been paid in an application process that currently does not exist.
Yeah.
Whereas the city of Red Lodge has the intent to preserve public parking for the use of the entire community and its visitors. Whereas the current code offers the opportunity for abuse of public parking spaces for members of the public. And whereas the city would like to provide accessible parking options for those who have, thank you, I was also about to do that, who have disabilities using proper systems for permitting and establishing parking space, designated parking space.
Whereas the city would like to provide accessible parking options for those who have
Proper
disabilities.
systems.
Using the proper systems, what is,
Yeah.
Yeah, let's change that to something, like using. Do we?
guideline, what, I don't even know, like,
By providing guidelines and, applications.
but then
How
again,
about-
with the
We just,
application.
how do we just?
But
get
weren't
rid
we
of that?
doing one
just get rid of it?
specifically for handicap?
Let's
Mhm.
see what,
We were
What?
doing one for
Wait, are we
handicap
making one?
parking. Yeah.
Government buildings and we gotta, reference government buildings too in a whereas. Whereas,
okay,
citizens have the right to expect a spot in front of government buildings.
Citizens should be, or should have access,
Yeah, should have access.
oh, how about this, hold on.
oh, whereas
County and city
building.
buildings should have,
Or just government buildings.
there we go. All right.
We like writing more words than we actually need to.
I want
Why
more
you-
words.
why you want these?
Government buildings
Become of the time where we used to get graded on
Should-
numbers of
oh my God.
words.
be accessible to the citizens of those jurisdictions. I'm gonna misspell this, don't blame me. Okay.
Designated, is that what you're gonna put in there?
This is fun. I actually really enjoy having like three of us in here at
Right,
once.
I'm like, really- I go in to change something and then someone else will change it, I'm just gonna, I don't even know what color I am now. I'm blue.
You're pink in mine.
Oh, I'm blue on mine. But like, you're also blue and Chris is red.
Can we just
See,
do that?
Chris is designated accessible parking for those who have disabilities.
Okay, the current code
Yeah.
offers the opportunity for abuse of public parking spaces for all members of the public, and whereas the city would like to provide opportunities for designated accessible parking for those who have disabilities, and whereas government buildings should be accessible to the citizens of those jurisdictions. And, is there another and?
And now therefore,
And now therefore, be it enacted by the, okay,
okay. Now down.
where's Jonathan?
Get that guy in here.
So then do we put, what do we need to put under the now therefore be it enacted? We need to say, we.
No, I think that's all
We
you
wanna
gotta say.
revise, we
Nope.
wanna revise, we revise this code to the following.
Yeah.
The-
I don't think we have to even say that.
Mm-mm. Well, I mean,
That's just,
more words.
I feel like that all it has to be is an ordinance to amend municipal code, because that already says what we're doing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now therefore, just put shall read.
Parking shall read. Okay, and then it goes back into where we've already adjusted all of this, right?
Yep.
Submitted everything.
'cause you've already edited all this, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah,
This is still.
this is all, this is what we did last time.
Look, I can't think of anything else that needs to be added to it. Code, that's why we did it. So, okay, so we have it right there, whereas the city would like to provide opportunities. Do we need it? Okay.
Application for space provided for subsections A and 2, section filed with the city clerk. Consent in writing of occupant of the first floor of the building in front of which it is desired such space be reserved. Application shall specify and locate the space to be reserved and the hours of day in which the reservation of space is desired will need to be renewed annually. Yeah. Those applying meeting certain criteria shall pay for signage and any associated costs of their signage indicated by standards or signs. All spaces reserved under subsection A of this should be indicated. Standards and suitable signs erected or placed at the curb at the expense of the applicant for whose the space is reserved. Proposed signage shall be approved by the city of Red Lodge prior to installation. All reserved may be revoked. Permits granted under the provisions of this chapter may be revoked at any time by the city of Red Lodge without notice.
Boom.
And I think that's it. Now we just gotta put the little end cap on it. Which I think it's
So do we have to send it to,
Dennison.
Dennison?
Yep. Let's steal.
Grab it from another one?
Another one?
No.
Oh.
Oh, it was.
Just gonna put this in here. to
Do you
where-
mind if I change the whereases up, because since number one is government buildings, I'd like to put that above.
Oh, like, put the order?
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Putting all this work into it, just change it.
Cut and paste.
I just added things at the bottom. God, I hate the fact that my cursor shows white. And so I can't see my cursor whenever I'm writing this. We do not need that to be 16, we're gonna make that 11. It's not.
Oh.
Say,
so since we changed that too.
Yeah, to pull it down.
Mhm.
that's a little formatting here, but on the whole.
I know, I don't wanna touch it. Go off and see.
Make it all the same font too.
Yeah, in size, that shit.
I kinda liked it.
Like a murder,
How
a
many
ransom
people-
note.
Right. Every letter in a different font. It's way more cool.
Man, so productive, ladies, with that.
Damn.
Just for an ordinance in like 5 minutes.
I know, that's why I was like, I know somebody will have a better idea.
Well, then you look at it, and you're just like, what am I even trying to say?
All right.
Simple,
Okay.
letter.
Should we send it off to who? Lonnie?
I would say
and-
Lonnie,
and
Dennison, Jody, and Dave.
All right. I wonder if I can just share it with them.
You should be able to.
Yeah.
I think I did when I did the last
I know
one.
Lonnie struggles with that because hers isn't Google.
No, you're right, so I did have to like,
I had to save it and send it.
save it, yeah, as a doc.
Download it as a Microsoft Word doc.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God, it's not, it's like, I just love it, yeah.
And then,
While
Okay,
you do
so
that, do you mind if I move to Parks and Sustainability Board updates?
Did you go?
can you wait so I can take notes?
Yeah, oh, right, yep, no, go ahead.
Give me a second. So Lonnie, Dennison,
Dave and Jody.
Butler. Why don't I have Dennison's? It should say just attorney,
Yes,
city attorney,
City.
okay. Mayor. And then you guys. Ordinance.
Oh, so excited, I got a new purse today.
Did
It's
you?
really cute.
Let me see, let me see. Oh.
My old one broke,
Um,
and then I had one that my sister-in-law gave me for my birthday that I loved, and it was super cute, but the strap was dumb, and it didn't work at all. Very, very cool in concept, very unpractical in actual use.
It does say handicapped.
Do we need to change that?
Yeah, I probably should. Ordinance. Handicap, accessible. Okay, let's try this again. Just pretend that there is, music on, music.
Okay. Oh, right, save out the office. Yola. Man, just crushing my to-do list, that being said, cancel days, it's just like 4 big items.
So we'd like to, so are we gonna talk about it tonight and then, vote on it? It should at the next, on the 26th?
yeah, because it's saying where, hang on.
Do we have that on our agenda? I mean,
Yes,
not more than
It's
fine.
under Public Works for discussion.
Okay, we'd
So,
like to
yeah.
vote on this,
Like-
November 26th and December, what is that date?
I'm looking, 11th? No,
Hold it. It would be the 10th.
10th, right.
December 10th. Okay. You guys are copied on this? Sending, okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So Parks Board update. Sustainability Board's next Monday, so I'll just do a Parks Board this week. Went to that, they're just kind of wrapping up, again, summer stuff. Specifically, they're planning on designating out several meetings here in the future, because it's once a month, so it's literally gonna be like first of the year till March to work on a budget. And like priorities, where they'd like to see that $80,000 that we have allocated go. Should it be opportunity funds? Should it be certain big projects, like how that funding should be allocated? So obviously Mike and all of them are gonna be helping with that, kind of giving them some structure and some outlines. So that way, when we're actually doing budget presentations, we'll have something from Parks Board, which will be, I think, really
Super
cool.
nice, that'll be super
Yeah,
helpful.
that is awesome.
And again, just nice to get the focus in, because I feel like otherwise it's just really easy for certain members to get steamrolled, where certain things just happen because they're there and they want to see it happen, and other things get thrown on the wayside. So I think that'll be really helpful. Another conversation that did come up was Beartooth Trails, because I'm really struggling with the whole BRTA to Beartooth Trails thing.
Wait, they're not BRTA, it's Beartooth Trails now?
It's Beartooth Trails now. Yeah, no, it messes with my head, but I'm trying real hard to get it right.
Can we just call it BT?
Yeah, call it BT. So Beartooth Trails did a proposal for a pump track and bike track up at Coal Miners. So a few
Pump
years
track?
ago, there
Well, I
was
just thought
a
that they
pump
were,
track.
okay, yeah.
And it just basically was, they used bad soil for it, it deteriorated super quickly, no one took care of it, and it's basically,
PUMP?
yep, like,
Yeah.
pump, pump, pump it up.
When did, because I remember recently, when I say recently, I mean within my children's lifespan.
Yeah, no, I mean, that happened maybe
Because I remember,
9 years ago.
because I remember taking my son up there and him eating it horribly.
So we had a really cool presentation, about
Which park, sorry, coal miners?
coal miners, yep, because there's already a section that's kind of
Mhm.
designated for it there on the north side next to the sanctuary.
Mhm.
Pretty big area, I want to say it's like 80 by 100, so it's a big space.
Yeah.
And they've already got plans for this pump track that can start small but then expand if it needs to. And basically they need a boatload of good dirt, like not just dirt, not fill dirt, like just good quality dirt. Sounds like Mike Maples might have a,
Not the guy that was selling dirt, like, you know, on 212 right there, where it's like, seemed like that's all he did.
it's like that dirt, like it's really
Like,
well
he
filtered
moved
out
it.
dirt. But so they need, I wanna say they needed 100 yards. It was a lot of dirt, like their bid was like 10 grand from Baldwin's for the dirt. They do have some dirt there that they can filter and sift, and they have a commercial grade filter system that they can do that, so they're expecting to be able to utilize some of the dirt that's already there for that project. They would need water. It sounds like it's gonna be a volunteer effort to like
Oh, wow.
get it all there. Basically, they just need city approval, potential funding from the Parks Board. And then also just some sort of long-term plan for maintenance on it. I think now with having Mike in place, like, that's a lot more feasible,
Right.
to where he's really good about, like, if you tell him, hey, we need to do a tune-up on this park or throw some water on it or whatever, like, he's usually pretty good about getting Willie up there doing it.
Yeah.
So they were trying to say that we need to have like an on-staff person for that, and I'm like, no.
They, the BR.
Yeah, Beartooth Trails, yeah.
No, that.
Yeah, and like,
Well, how-
I appreciate where your head's at, and I appreciate that you wanna keep this
Wouldn't that be great?
long-lasting and like a quality project, but
Is it,
also,
like, what
Was
would
it
be the
like,
reason?
mostly they just didn't wanna have the same thing happen again. Like, to where they built this out, 8, 9 years ago, and then it just disintegrated over time.
Right.
So, yeah, it just needs some regular maintenance and, a volunteer day once a year that Beartooth Trails would coordinate. So, like, to me, it all seems pretty,
Yeah,
straightforward.
I don't think it needed a full-time maintenance, but, okay.
yeah, so, and Mike's like, I'll work with these guys, like, we'll talk about it. I think I got dirt for you, I think I got all this stuff, so, that's pretty cool. It'd be great to see that up there. Then other update is, so a few meetings back, the Dark Skies group with the Whistler Observatory came in, and they were upset about the lights on the county buildings
Mm-hmm.
there at the rodeo grounds. They've been leaving them on at night, and
Right.
they're very bright, and it just blasts right there on the Whistler Observatory.
From my understanding, it's a policing thing.
Correct. So, and that's what we got the information on. County came back and said, they had people shooting out their lights,
Mhm.
and they had some safety concerns with the increased events that they've been having there, and honestly, increased assets that are being held there.
Mhm.
Like, again, you think about any of those shows, like, whether you're dealing with an FAA thing, like.
The
there's-
FFA kids are really, yeah.
And I
it's
mean,
huge.
those animals aren't cheap, like, if someone came in and stole a goat, that's a big deal, like, so there is, reasonable concern for security, there's also reasonable concern for lights being blasted.
Mhm.
So the county is willing to have a conversation with the Night Skies folks in the city about this, but realistically, they're like, look, we need to keep lights on, so then Night Skies folks said, well, can't we shield them down?
Mhm.
Like, yeah, but then that costs money, so who's gonna pay for it?
Right.
City already said, that can't be us,
It's not, yeah.
yep.
I don't
But
think county
if
wants-
someone wanted to raise funds from that group and help pay for these, sounds like the county's amenable to that.
Well, and besides the Black Skies, who else is making the complaint of it being too bright? Is it mostly
Some folks
Remington?
over in Remington Ranch are pretty
So I
upset
kinda-
about it.
So maybe they should kind of petition or try
Right.
to do a fundraiser for it.
Right.
Also, is what I'm thinking, because I'm like, well, who would it directly affect mostly?
We
Yeah.
had that complaint at the rink too,
With
and
your
we
lights?
did look into, getting the shields. They're expensive.
They are.
Yeah. So that's right now, where the Parks Board sits with it, is they have said that they are willing to be kind of a facilitator of the conversation. And so me and Roger are gonna meet, talk about who these parties are that needs to be in this conversation. So I've already said, you know, it's not really city council's purview to, like, we can make a recommendation to the county, but we can't tell them what to do and how to spend their money.
No.
So, but we can say like, hey, this is upsetting our folks, and it's, you
If we
know,
can come up with a,
yeah, we're
So
gonna see,
you and Roger,
Mullendorf, president of Parks Board. And so, I'm not sure, we don't have a meeting set yet. I tried to
I
get it
think we're
on
doing that.
paper. Yeah, no, I think, again, I just wanna get the right
Important.
players in the room,
yeah.
and there's no reason we have to bicker about it, and there's no
No,
reason
I
it has to
mean-
be dramatic. Like, it's
No.
like, you want this, how can we get you by these things? It doesn't have to be hard, so, I hate it when people have to try and make things hard.
Yeah.
The lights have been there pre-existing
Oh,
to
forever, yeah,
to
the creation of this new park.
right,
So I think it's unfair of the new group to come in and say,
turn them off.
we built this, so now you need to change what
Right.
you've got.
and they made the argument saying that these lights were never on all night, all the time before.
They're always on
They're
because
always on, I can't remember them being
that
on.
area attracts mischief.
Yeah,
Big
No,
time.
I-
would-
they're a
like,
lot
the
brighter though.
stuff that
than
they've
they
had to
used to be.
clean up in those stalls is concerning.
Yeah.
Like, these little kids are up there with FFA animals, and they're pulling needles out of haystacks, like legitimate drugs.
yeah,
It's a dark, if it's dark and quiet,
yep,
By
I'm
the
right there
way,
with you. Yep.
mischief follows, and that's
Mhm.
why you light it.
Exactly, 100%. So again, if we can find a happy middle ground for everybody, super. Like, that's, I would like to try and help facilitate that, but I'm also not going to like
This is
Try and- spend relationships for it. I don't think that's worth it. So, that's where I sit with it. I'm gonna try and get the right people in the room and just make sure all sides can be heard and happy. So that's coming up. Other thing with Parks Board, I think that's pretty much all we talked about. We did talk about Arbor Day.
Yeah,
So
I was talking about this with somebody else.
So essentially, we, from the city's standpoint and from the Parks Board standpoint, very reluctant to do a tree handout again, or we have nowhere else to plant trees at this point. We're all planted out.
True story.
Soon we'll have a park that we can put it in maybe, and like in your yard.
Did you guys discuss, like a trimming program or no?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So this
Yeah.
that's kind of what we led into, is like, we want to use the tree inventory that was taken a few years ago, go through and hire a contractor to come and knock out, like,
Dead full.
yeah,
and all
so
that.
it takes the work off of our city, to where they don't have to be doing it. It takes a big liability off the city, because honestly, it's one of the number one injuries in homes. And so, anyway, get some of those dead trees out, unsafe branches, that type of thing. The concern is Arbor Day generally is a photo op style grant program. They want volunteers, they want trees getting planted, they want,
I'll get my picture taken with the chainsaw.
right? And so, but the other thing is, like, we're not gonna be able to use a lot of volunteers for this kind of work.
Cleanup, I mean, someone's cutting, but then there's a lot of debris on
Yeah,
the ground.
like, you can start hauling stuff, but we can't have regular public using wood chippers and, you know, chainsaws and shit. That's a terrible idea. And I mean, even like identifying what's a dangerous tree or a dead tree, that's even something that we can't put like people
No.
on. There takes a level of expertise there. So we're worried that there might not be funding for something that isn't so.
Well, I mean, we
glamorous.
don't know until we.
And that's exactly it. So, and then there's also other grant programs
Right.
that do offer funding for this specific project that Mike has actually done before in the past. So specifically, we're trying to figure out, and there's also the ongoing conversation with a lot of these subcommittees of
Mhm.
the grant process.
This meeting is being recorded.
Jesus, hell.
This computer will
Oh.
drive you ru- like.
So,
What did you click on?
So there's concerns about, the way that grant process has been happening, where it's like, there's this grant, can we create a project that fits it? Versus, this is our project, is there a grant that can pay for it? That's kind of it's always like this with nonprofits, anyone who's writing grants, you see a grant opportunity for getting a lot of money,
Try to make
and
it
you try
fit.
and squeeze something in, like, so there might be a more streamlined approach coming, and
Right.
so the same way that they're talking about those priorities, that's another part of it.
Okay.
Like, okay, we have these priorities, these are the projects that we want to see, let's start getting these shovel ready, so when a grant comes up, we can be ready for it.
Versus us trying.
And if you see a grant that comes up that we don't have something for, or isn't in our plan, let someone else have the money, like,
Pass it
we
on.
don't have to apply for every single one. And Dave did make mention of how there might be a grant writer here at the city, that all of it kind of comes through, and we remove the public factor from writing, which I don't necessarily agree with. I say if we have someone
That's kind
willing
of-
to write
Yeah,
grants,
I'm like, let's not pigeonhole all into one person, like, I feel
Right.
like, good lord.
no, let's take advantage of people who want to
Yeah,
help,
there's
is my
people out there
thought,
who wanna
like,
help.
if
and
someone wants to help and write grants, by all means, but yeah, providing a
service.
framework for them is not a bad thing.
No, I agree, no.
So, and again, just creating that expectation at a city level of like, okay, you want to do this, these are the things that we're looking for,
Mhm.
versus like, that's all well and good, but it's not necessarily something that fits within our profile right now. So,
No, I agree.
and that's, again, been kind of an ongoing issue for the last year, I'm sure longer, but at least as long as I've been around here at this table, that's been a concern. So again, I don't want to be shutting people down who want to help by any means, but also want to
Make sure that.
streamline a little bit.
Yes.
So anyway, that is parks. Public Works, I will have an update, not Public Works. Sustainability Board, I'll have an update next meeting. Okay. Then,
Can you make me, share, so I can share my screen?
Sure.
Did you get the recycling center?
I've got it started. Sustainability update.
I thought you were gonna try to like,
oh,
You know, pass it on, can you do that?
I'm trying to remember how to do this.
Oh,
I think I can.
you just have to make me, make co-host right there, yep. Thank you.
You betcha.
Okay.
Share away. I mean, I used to be really Zoom savvy, and now that part of my brain has been
Thank
utilized for something else at this point in my life.
agreed. I don't even, I used to have to do them all, and now it's like, wait, what, how?
Oh, hang on.
Okay, I can't see.
Okay,
Well,
so this is,
okay.
this is what I did today, and it's not finished yet, but this is kind of the direction that I am going.
So your cover page looks really nice.
Mhm.
Sorry, what?
Like your page looks really nice.
Oh, thank you. So I just wanted to cover the history. Recycle Red Lodge used to run the recycling center. It's a nonprofit, and the funding sources for that nonprofit included individual and business memberships and payments for some of the commodities like metals and cardboard. In 2023, the program was turned over to the city. The city established a $6 monthly fee to all households on their, and was put on their water bill. And then, non-residents can still use the center by paying a fee, both commercial and residential.
Mm-hmm.
And they can buy a membership, or they can just pay a dropout fee. Right now for staffing, they have 2 part-time employees. We all know Kyle and Ann, and they are supported by the Beartooth Industries folks. And then part of accepting the recycling program included an annual review by council, which is this.
Nailed it.
I thought you were gonna stop there and be like, so that's all I have.
That's it.
So the financial part of it is, that we had, we looked at income and expenses, and we had, budgeted income, and we had budgeted expenses, and so it turned out the income was, the budgeted income was $136,000, and we, closed the books at 150, almost 159. So just some of that money, 6,300 came from when Recycle Red Lodge went away, they turned that over to the city. We had an increase in memberships which resulted in about a $5,800 increase than we expected. And then the number of households that we estimated was actually higher. The number was lower than what actually was, and so that brought in another $5,700. So this resulted in an increase of income at about $22,000. And you can see the spreadsheet here. So the $6 a month fee, that was almost $115,000. The annual commercial memberships, we expected 12,300, we actually got 17,100, which is great. Non-city memberships, slightly over what we anticipated. And then drop fees, that's a little bit iffy because they were really never calculated. We could never find a calculation from before, so we just didn't include them in our budget. So that was.
Which I'd rather see it that way than the other, so.
Yeah, so we were pretty conservative in the numbers that we put together. So for materials, not all those most of the materials actually cost money, but we did make a little bit of money on the scrap metal and aluminum, and less than we had hoped. And then cardboard and paper, we made about what we expected for that. And then again, there's that closeout from Recycle Red Lodge of the $6,300. And so you can see the total income budgeted and then actual. So a little over 22 grand that we had in income. And then expenses, we had budgeted 84,553. Our expenses were actually 75, almost 76,000, resulting in an actual expense decrease of almost 9,000. Labor and contracted labor, which is via Fairtooth Industries, was lower than anticipated by about 17 grand. In the case of Fairtooth Industries, we only paid for 10 months because they were still coming off COVID, and so they didn't work the entire year, so that amount was less. I'm not sure what happened with the actual, I think it took maybe the city employees less time, I don't know. Materials processing and transport was much higher than anticipated by about $10,000. Operating expenses were slightly less than expected, about 15 grand. And those operating expenses include, utilities, plowing, propane for the forklift, baling wire, the porta potty rental, which we actually never got billed for, so, which was supposed to be $1,200, office and janitorial supplies. One big thing that we did not put in the original budget was, garbage service. And I don't know how they had that set up, if the city just paid for it anyway, and it just didn't come out of Recycle Red Lodge's budget, but that was an unanticipated expense. So, this is kind of an overview of where things were. You can see, like, personnel, we were, 7,500 under budget. Contracted labor, almost 10 grand under budget. Materials, transport, processing, 10 grand over. Operating expenses, we were under by about 1,500, so that put us, our expenses were almost 9 grand less. So, and I don't know if do you think these are necessary? I've got 3 slides, expenses, how do I go back here? Nope. Oh, God.
Oh, geez,
What happened?
I don't know.
But Wendy's 28 was fun.
Wendy's 28th birthday. How about that? Is that it? Okay, so I have, expenses, I have the overview, and then I put, basically personnel, labor, materials, and
I think
operating
it's good to
expenses.
include those things,
Okay,
just because I know people are gonna ask,
okay,
like, that's stuff I would ask.
chart, but,
yeah. Okay, so let me go back to the slideshow. All right, so here were the amounts for, yeah. So Kyle was about roughly what we expected, Ann was a little bit less, and the admin was a little bit less. And then, we were almost 10 grand under for Fairtooth Industries.
Why?
Again, they were coming off COVID, so it sounds like they weren't
Or
available.
even around, okay.
Yeah, and I think there were only certain, I might be wrong about this, but I think there were only certain people that they allowed to work over there.
Okay,
So I think we had a lot more before,
okay.
Yeah.
and then now there's usually like two.
Got it.
And then expenses, scrap metals, we didn't have to pay for, we actually made money, because commodities change every year, right? So, we actually, didn't have to pay for scrap metals, that was a positive. We paid a lot more in glass, you can see that's the most expensive item. Cardboard, we paid $914 in paper, so that's okay, yeah, so that's probably paper, because we did get money from cardboard, and we had to pay for paper, I believe, and then, the transportation of plastic that we paid to John Cordes to take it up to Billings at Earth First,
Mhm.
and then e-waste, was $3,100. And then, equipment, supplies at $900, which we nailed, was baling wire, but that's the only thing.
Wow. Good job.
Propane for a forklift was, I don't know why that was so low, but that was very low. The porta potty we never paid for, I don't know where that came from, Lonnie searched high and low. I don't think we ever paid that bill.
Yeah, we have now in this.
Oh, you have, you
We
did
have
find it.
Yeah, he found, so we had issues with whoever was sending the billing, they weren't sending it, because it wasn't just the recycling, they never sent the city on the parks or anything.
Oh,
So we
my.
are all up to date now, so
Okay,
forward.
okay, so this
But
is
it
gonna be in
didn't-
next year's.
because, yeah, it'll be in this year's
Okay.
expenses, because,
And again, this is July 1st of 2023 to June 30th of 2024, is what we're talking about. Forklift maintenance, we didn't have any plowing, was a little bit over budget, utilities, pretty close.
Yeah.
Admin and office supplies, lower signage, we can probably take that out for next year, unless somebody feels the signage needs to be updated.
Yeah.
And then the garbage, there's that $3,000 that I talked about, and then this is cut off, but there is, also one other line item that I couldn't get to fit on here, and that was janitorial supplies that we didn't spend, so that's the expenses. So in summary, we're in good shape, but since we have fewer expenses and more income than anticipated. We determined that the $6 per month rate should be good for the current fiscal year, and I want to find out how many tons of everything was diverted from the landfill.
Yeah, was it Republic working on that, or was it, someone said?
Sustainability Board helped, with
Yeah.
all of that.
Well, I just remember someone said they were gonna find that tonnage for you.
Yeah,
I can't remember who though.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Corey, if it was Ann, or if it was someone from our public services specifically.
yeah, I've got a bunch of emails that I gotta go through, but I wanted to get this part done at least. So recommendations going forward, Mike suggested that we add a $5,000 capital budget line item to use for the, something, for example, the eventual purchase of a new baler.
Yep.
Or, something
Honestly,
around.
a $5,000 budget at minimum would be a great idea, like, but like, and again, then for match funds, for grants,
Yeah.
those types of things
That is
too.
there. I like that next line.
Yeah, and then we also, we had, when we added this in,
Mhm.
there weren't many options to do it in a timely manner, and we were under a
Oh,
deadline.
yeah, absolutely.
And that was really the only way we could do it,
Right.
without having it on the ballot.
Mhm.
And so ideally, we would like to remove this from the water bill and tie it in with their solid waste cost, which is paid with annual taxes, but I think that
Is
will
now-
require a,
Isn't it now all the, on our utility?
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
it's on utility bill now anyhow.
Yeah, but,
wait, what?
so,
Trash.
our trash is now on our utility bill.
You remember,
Because
that
we
was
were-
like a whole thing
The
we did.
whole, you were the one that
Oh, that's
explained
right.
it with the,
Like,
paid off in
like, that's like a whole thing.
You were the one talking about it.
Yeah, never mind, okay, scratch that. So maybe we don't want that then.
I would take that off, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because I was like, wait.
I think people are gonna be like, wait,
Wait.
our trash is gonna go back on taxes now, like.
In fact, thanks, I'm gonna add
We should
Yeah.
have like, oh,
a notice just for the tax thing.
That would be
It's
good.
half a year, but it's divided by 2.
I've had a lot of people.
So many, and I
Good
saw
job.
someone, I saw someone do a post asking about it, and I,
Well, I didn't
Well,
see
we
that.
had something in the paper too, I think. I haven't read it, but,
Oh.
I've heard of the people. What is this you guys are working on right now?
This is the recycling review.
Okay, gotcha.
And so then this is where I kind of stopped, but wait, there's more, because this is what the mayor asked, is like, where do it go?
Yeah.
Where do it go?
I can hook you up with a lot more cardboard.
Sorry, what?
I can hook you up with a lot more
Yeah.
cardboard.
Yeah, I
I've
got
not
it.
seen you drive by with your cardboard, nothing.
And
You're
so this
making
is,
money on it.
Yeah.
There's a funny video that came on. Have you ever fallen asleep with the TV on? Which is really funny when you don't even watch TV.
like
But in the
only
middle of this night, there was the show on, and I want to say it's called Adam Ruins Everything.
Oh, I love Adam Ruins Everything.
Did I get the name right?
Yep, that's good.
And he has one that actually, and granted, it's a few years old, but, and based on how he presented it, I don't think it was not like from a debunker slant by any means, but he comes through and talks about the problems, and it's like, oh, I know it's 3:00 in the morning, but this has my attention, I'm gonna have to watch this. So I did save it, I can point it to you, I don't know if I can find the video, but.
Oh, it'd be easy to
So
find.
one of the
There's a
things
lot of
that he
them.
talks about is plastics and cardboards, and while plastics were all being stored in Oregon and put in a dump in Oregon, and
Yeah, that's about right.
so.
Yeah, Penn and Teller did one in the
We
nineties
saw the one on Penn,
Yeah.
Penn and Teller.
on their show
This is-
Bullshit.
It's like he ruins being nice, I think is what the episode was
Yeah, no,
called.
his whole concept is like, all these good things that people have with the best of intentions, and it actually is not doing anything good for anybody.
No.
Like specifically, there's a YouTube channel that Tony and I like to watch, and I can't remember what it's called. I think it's just Best of Intentions or something like that. Unintended Consequences. So it's literally, it'll show like an example in history from like, one example is there was a cobra overage in like India, and
Oh,
so,
yeah.
and so they're like, oh, we'll start paying people to kill these cobras, and that will bring the cobra population down. So instead, people are like, great, I'm gonna start farming cobras and selling them to the government to like,
Kill 'em off.
to get money. And so then they're like, oh shit, this is bad, and so they like stop the payoff, and so then all these
Now
cobra
they're
farms
digging
let them
more
go.
cobras.
But it's got the tagline, it's like, what a great idea, the best of intentions, what could possibly go wrong? And like, that is what I consistently think of every time, like, we have a discussion where it's just like, okay, what are the bad
We're a minute left.
intentions?
can I finish?
Yeah,
Yep,
sorry,
okay.
I thought.
That's okay.
Where do I go?
So I'll take a little bit of a dive on all of these commodities that we recycle and where they go, what happens to them, because, I know Dave asked me to look into that, and I asked the Sustainability Board for help, so everybody sent me information and, you know, made phone calls and found out, and so I just had to put it in here, what happens to everything, and that is it. So is there anything that I missed that, you think people wanna know?
I think just stats, like, so the diverted, the tonnage, I don't know if we have like weights for each item. Like, is that the thing, or?
Yeah, I just.
Just
I
fun
haven't had-
stats, I think, help people like wrap their head around like, oh wow, it's making a difference, kind of thing.
Yeah,
But otherwise, this is great, like,
Good job.
yeah.
well, it started taking me so long, it was a busy summer.
Weird.
So, but I'm gonna get everything done before I leave in December.
Almost there, 2 more meetings.
Okay, so, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
good work.
If you think of anything else that, because I think I'm going to talk about this.
I was like,
Let me know.
Way to take one for the team there.
Someone needs to put
I've
the
gotten
signals
so
out
many
there,
freaking spam calls.
Oh, where is it?
all over the front and the cap.
We can do that, I can.
Jody just wanted to get a little cardio in.
I need it.
Did you just do all the
That was her.
Yeah, that was.
Aw,
Is that my seat or is this my seat?
That's your seat.
Which one be me and I'll be Sandy tonight.
You can be the next week.
Sandy brings me snacks. I know.
Okay, on that note,
Chris throws candy at me.
all right, we're gonna say meeting adjourned.